Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes, and this one just beggars belief. Imagine you are a young woman living in Ealing in London and you needed somewhere to live. Now, buying somewhere is out of the question. You can't possibly afford the prices for a place in London, so you'd have to rent. But even then, it's very, very hard. Both the rents are high, but also there's so few places. Well, Ealing Council have come up with a bit of a wheeze. They are going to build a 15-storey tower block and make it exclusively for women. Now, I don't know how they're going to get away with this because the 2010 Equality Act is very clear on things like this, the provision of services. And there is another problem. Although it may be exclusively for women, that doesn't necessarily mean females. Because after all, there's a lot of men who pretend to be women. And so these blocks, in which one could assume filled with women, the women would feel safe, will all of a sudden have predatory men running around, getting off and getting sexually aroused by the thought of wearing women's face and women's clothing. And after all, we know this to be true. In prisons, 60% of trans prisoners are in for sexually related crimes, whereas it's only 6% in the Gen Pop. And so trans are 10 times more likely to commit these kind of crimes. And now you're going to be locking them up in tower blocks filled with women. It's like putting the fox in the hen house. Good luck, women. But also good luck to all those men who all of a sudden in Ealing will pretend to be women, and they'll go along for their interview and go, "Oh, can I have a key, please? But you're a man." "Oh, no, don't you dare do that. How dare you misgender me? I am a woman now. But you're wearing trousers and men's clothes and you have a big beard." "Yes, but I'm a man who identifies as a woman, who identifies as a man." The left are eating themselves, and there's no way out of this. Let's have a look at this article. So, no men allowed unless they're trans. The women-only apartment building to rent flats to transgender tenants. And women, of course, but no real men. No actual, men. A project intended to provide an entire apartment building for women only won't be as free from the Y chromosomes as initially thought, with organisers admitting that biologically male, transgender and non-binary individuals will be allowed to rent flats in the building. This non-binary, I'll just a little aside here, another tangent. They go on about, non-binary. Oh, you're not binary. There's no binary. Tell me, what does the B stand for in LGBT? So yeah, it is binary, isn't it? Full of shit. Anyway, a feminist scheme to build a 15-storey apartment block for single women, particularly vulnerable women, that's the important thing, from ethnic minority backgrounds or those facing domestic abuse, has been given the go-ahead by Ealing Council in West London this week, the BBC has reported. So what they're saying is they're predominantly doing this for ethnic minority and vulnerable women. The Equality Act 2010, yet again, you cannot target one ethnicity. It's illegal. You cannot target one sex. It's illegal. It will all of a sudden be a problem. Now, they've already admitted that, okay, if you're a man who is trans and identifies as a woman, we'll let you in as a woman. Well, that's fine. I'm a man, but I don't want to identify as a woman. I'll identify as black. How's that? Yeah, man, I can do that. I will speak with a Jamaican sort of a Creole accent. I'll get some dreads, I can get a weave put in, something like that. And I'll just be the palest Rastafarian this side of the Mississippi. I mean, seriously. They cannot get away with this. This will be challenged on so many grounds. But that's not the point of this video. The point is, under the plans, men would be prohibited from renting apartments in the building. That is illegal. He said, and would only be allowed into the building if they are a child. Well, they're not men, they're children. Men is adult. Or are in a relationship with one of the tenants. So one of the tenants then goes in, gets the place, gets a boyfriend moves in. What are they going to do? All of a sudden, the place is filled with men. The stupidity. This is the problem. The left, they have the IQ of a potato. Oh, yes, it's women only. But men can go in if they're in a relationship with the woman or if they're wearing a dress. So it'll be filled with men then. It's stupid. And they're talking about filling it with women who are the victims of domestic, DV victims. And then they're going to fill it with men. The last thing these women want is big hairy arse builders walking around going, "What, have nice tits?" Because it ain't going to wash, is it? The council. Why do they employ? What the trouble is? No, I'm getting frustrated. I've got to start saying this again. People are stupid. People are insanely stupid. But what's worse is they keep voting for people who are even stupider. I mean, this is ridiculous. These councillors are sitting there going, "Oh yes, it's going to be women only, apart from these men, and these men. Oh, and then there's the other men. Yeah, that'll be fine. But it's women only and ethnic minorities only. Oh, and we've forgotten about the 2010 Equality Act. Yeah, we'll just wash that one away." Load of crap in it. Anyway, he said, while the scheme seems discriminatory against men on its face, there is, of course, a transgender loophole against the segregation policy. It is 2023 after all. The Women's Pioneer Housing Association, which is spearheading the project, has said that the building will be open to anyone who has a gender recognition certificate legally declaring them female. The not-so-female-only building will also be open to transgender people who intend to undergo or are undergoing or have undergone gender reassignment, as well as non-binary people who meet one of those criteria. Well, I'll tell you what, the world will be filled of people looking for a house suddenly going, "I intend at some point in the future to be transgender. Can I have a house now?" The stupidity of it all. And also the danger. You're filling it with apparently vulnerable women and then letting in the one group with the highest prevalence of sexual abuse. The highest rate of which sexual crimes are committed are by the trans. And you're putting them into a building filled with vulnerable women. Good luck to them. The WPA, which owns over 1,000 properties in London, claimed in its annual report that women earn on average 30.4% less per year than men, and therefore it is vital to provide women with high quality housing that is affordable. What of those men who are only earning 30.4% of the average? Will they be given a home? Or do they not count anymore? There is no region in England where a single woman on an average woman's salary can afford to rent a private sector home of her own. There's nowhere where a man can do it either. London house prices and private rents are outside the reach of most women, especially single women. They're outside the reach of most people, regardless of what you've got in your pants. The report, which did not account for commonly overlooked gender pay gap factors such as the professions held or hours worked, did not include statistics on whether transgender individuals who identify as women earn more or less than biological women, because that would be difficult to explain away. They don't want to address the issue. They don't want to say, "Oh, women earn less than men," and then explain, well, of course they do it on an average. The average woman earns less than the average man, because on average there's more women taking time off because of pregnancy, or there's more women doing this, or the women are in the lower paid jobs by choice, and things like that. So you can't compare apples and bananas. But it is, and of course they don't want to. The last thing they want is to actually give you full details of things, because it goes against their narrative and against their agenda. But straight away, there's at least 4 or 5 grounds where this won't happen, where it will be challenged in the courts, where it will be overturned, because the law is very, very specific. And they've just made this to make a point. And even if it went through, what they're actually doing is putting all these vulnerable women in one place and introducing predators into there. I hope they've got CCTV everywhere, because you can turn it into late night television. Let's see who's going to get it tonight. That's as bad as it is. These people are dangerous, and of course it was a Labour council that authorised it, because, well, what do you expect? It's socialism 101, isn't it? Stupidity of the first water. Anyway, I shall round off and come up. So imagine it does go ahead. Imagine you've got this building filled with young women, vulnerable women, and then you introduce the trans into there. How long before the first of these trans, who identifies as a lesbian because he doesn't want to go anywhere near a penis, let's be honest, most of these weird men who like wearing the woman face, they like all that, but they're all lesbian because they like a bit of they like a bit of woman. They don't like anything to do with a penis anywhere near them. No, thank you very much. Can't be doing with any of that. And so they've got this building locked down, filled with them. And knowingly, they've got no men in any of those flats to protect those women. How long before the first attack? How long before Ealing Council then gets sued for doing this? You know, because ultimately, Ealing Council owe a duty of care to these women, where they're putting all these vulnerable women in a building and then putting men in that building with them. And once that happens, I would love to see Ealing Council sued to smithereens and have every single councillor forced to sell his or her house to pay the damages. It would be delicious. Won't ever happen, but it would be great to see. And it would send a message to every other councillor up and down the country. Don't be a dick. Anyway, I shall round off. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you've seen here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button down there. Ring that bell, leave a like. Please share the video. Mostly, leave a like. They're the big ones. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, don't get a house in Ealing, and goodbye.